Calaroga Shark Media.
Live from the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, this is Ballot.
That's right. It's me, recording a podcast in a largely empty building, except for some social media influencers. Yay, thanks, bosses. Okay, let's hit this, I guess. At a rally in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump took a detour from his usual campaign talking points to engage in an unexpected beauty contest, comparing himself to his opponent, Kamala Harris. Trump couldn't resist going off script, taking aim at Kamala Harris while trying to connect with his audience by asking, "You don't mind if I go off teleprompter for a second, do you? Joe Biden hates her." But he quickly turned the conversation toward his favorite subject, himself. "I'm much better looking than her," Trump declared, earning laughs from his supporters. Not content to stop there, Trump referenced comments from an unnamed Ronald Reagan speechwriter, likely Peggy Noonan, who had praised Harris's appearance, suggesting it was her biggest advantage. Trump, unsurprisingly, wasn't impressed. "I'd never thought of that," he said, dismissing the idea that Harris's looks could be a factor in the race. Speaking of Melania, Business Insider pointed out that Melania hasn't been around much. That's weird, Don. Anyway, all this talk about looks makes me happy I saved this story from Friday. It looks like Vice President Kamala Harris is bringing out the big guns, or should I say, the big hotties. That's right, folks. The hotties for Harris are officially on the scene, joining the ranks of the white dudes and cat ladies who have pledged their support for the VP. And what better way to solidify that support than with a party? This isn't just any party. It's an immersive experience designed to help you make awesome content about reproductive freedoms. You know, because nothing says protecting rights like a killer Instagram post. And it's not just about the hotties. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is throwing down at the Salt Shed with a performance by John Legend. The Equality Pack is bringing RuPaul's Drag Race stars to the stage. And even Wrigley Field is getting in on the action with a party hosted by Illinois Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. But back to the hotties. The Hotties for Harris Party borrows its name from the fan base of rapper Megan Thee Stallion, who threw her support behind Harris last month with a performance at an Atlanta rally. If there's one thing Harris's campaign knows, it's how to tap into Gen Z culture. From TikToks featuring tracks by Charlie XCX and Chappell Roan, to campaign ads backed by Beyoncé's Freedom, the VP is making sure she's got the youth vote on lock. Meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, Trump's got his own fan clubs, though they're leaning a bit more into the bro vibe with a $20 million Send the Vote effort spearheaded by podcast hosts like the Nelk Boys. It's a battle of the bases, and it looks like Harris is turning up the heat. Senator Tammy Duckworth, who lost both her legs while serving in Iraq, didn't mince words when she went after Donald Trump on Sunday, calling him despicable. Appearing on ABC's This Week, Duckworth, a woman who actually knows a thing or two about sacrifice, had some choice words for Trump's recent comparison of military honors. Trump, always the smooth talker, compared the Presidential Medal of Freedom to the Congressional Medal of Honor, saying the former was actually much better. Why? Because apparently soldiers who receive the Medal of Honor are either in very bad shape or, wait for it, dead. Duckworth, clearly not one to let that slide, told ABC's Martha Raddatz exactly what she thought of Trump's little speech. Donald Trump is despicable. He doesn't deserve to be commander-in-chief. And really, can you blame her? This is the guy who referred to decorated veterans as suckers and losers. Oh, and let's not forget his own stellar military record. A grand total of 5 draft deferments. But hey, who's counting? Duckworth didn't stop there. She put the choice to voters in the most straightforward terms. Do you want a draft-dodging, veteran-insulting reality TV star as your next commander-in-chief? Or would you prefer Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who actually seem to care about the people they'd be leading? And speaking of Walz, Duckworth shut down the ridiculous criticisms of his military service. She wasn't having any of the Republican attacks, pointing out the absurdity of their loyalty to Trump. Again, the guy who thinks veterans are basically chumps. Just to remind everyone of her own service, Duckworth recounted the day her Black Hawk helicopter was shot down in Iraq in 2004. A rocket-propelled grenade literally exploded in her lap, costing her both legs. But hey, Trump would probably call that just another day at the office for those losers. In a final twist of irony, Trump, who has never been near combat unless you count Twitter wars, awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Miriam Adelson in 2018, proudly declaring it better than the Medal of Honor. Because, it's not like the Medal of Honor has been awarded to over 3,500 actual heroes, some of whom went on to serve in the Senate. But sure, let's give it to a billionaire donor instead. So, there you have it. Tammy Duckworth, an actual war hero, versus Donald Trump, the guy who thought bone spurs were a good enough excuse to avoid Vietnam. Makes you wonder who's really the sucker here. I'll be back in the morning with another episode. In the meantime, Mac Davies has a free night in Chicago, a company credit card, and is going to try to track down one of those Harris Hotties. Portions of today's program were made with the help of AI, but not Trump's various stupid comments. Those were real. See you in the morning.